Hey, good morning, Connect Groups. It's Friday morning for me, and I've just spent some time in the Word and studying for Sunday, and I'm about to go out for a run, jog, something that usually helps me just listen to the Lord about what He's doing in His Word. So I'm excited about 1 Corinthians 9, which is where we're going, but we want to pause and think about 1 Corinthians 8, particularly the first three verses. So this was the meat and potatoes, the actual steak. Oh, by the way, I tried some new lighting today. You can let me know how that works here, if it's any better. 1 Corinthians 8, 1 through 3 is really the heart of what's going on, and with particular emphasis that knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Knowledge puffs up. So if anyone thinks they possess such knowledge, this knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Verse 2, if anyone imagines that he knows something, he does not yet know as he ought to know. But if anyone loves God, he is known by God. What has just stuck in my craw, and I keep mulling it over, is this final phrase. So I get the first part. If we think we know a lot, we're really just inflating ourselves and becoming self-important and somewhat imaginary in our disposition. So we're just being inflated. The real thing we should be filled with or inflated with is love, not knowledge. It goes even so far in verse 2 to say that if we imagine we know something, it only reveals the fact that we don't yet know as we ought to know. So that knowledge in its end result produces a humility, not a pride. It produces an understanding of, this is what I've gained in knowledge, which only reveals how much more there is to know, rather than, look how much I know. So what's striking to me then in verse 3 is that I would expect the scripture to say, but if anyone loves God, he knows God more. That there's been this interplay between love and knowledge, as if I'm really learning to love, I'm really learning what real knowledge is, but it twists, it inverts, it changes, and the scripture actually says, but if anyone loves God, he is known by God. That the end result of my loving God, which is, by the way, the fulfillment of the only two commandments that Jesus gives as the summary of all the commandments, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. The end result of that loving God is that I'm known by God, not that I get to know God more. I turned on Sunday to Psalm 139 and could just spend a small moment there, but invite you to spend your time there today. So rather than give you a set of questions to consider, I'm going to ask you to consider Psalm 139, because the theme is being known by God. If you need a few starter questions, let me pose maybe a few thoughts to help get you started. Read Psalm 139 and do what's called an inductive Bible reading. An inductive Bible study just means that you're letting the word speak on its own terms. You're discerning what's going on here. What does this mean? And some things that you might want to consider are, what does it mean to be known by God? How does that make the psalmist feel? How does that change our day-to-day life? What implications are there? I mean, so what? So what? I'm known by God. How does that change or affect or impact me on a day-to-day level? What does Psalm 139 say about that? What does it say about why and how we were created? What does it say about our future? What does it say about our enemies or people who oppose us? So Psalm 139 is worthy of our reflection, and I want us to go there today. So it's like a springboard. We're just jumping from 1 Corinthians 8, chapter 3, with this understanding of being known by God, and then discovering what it means to be known by God from Psalm 139. Have an incredible and amazing time in God's Word. A little bit different because you can read now the Word and discuss and give some freedom for you to decipher that Word, but ultimately it should be coming down to, okay, now that I understand the Word, what value is that for my life? What is that Word saying to us as a group, to a church, to my family, to me personally, and then praying one for another as always. Lord, help us understand the value of being known by God. Help us live in that knowledge. and let it bring all that God has intended into our lives. So enjoy your group time. I'm going to head outside. It's a gorgeous day, and have a great Connect group. God bless. We'll see you on Sunday.